Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from South Hadley, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
That's right, and that's what used to be part of tours. It's gone now, except for its big smokestack.
And today we'll be talking about the Winona paper mill. So, where was the Winona paper mill located?
Okay, it was located in the U part of the second level canal. It was a very strong mill and large. It sadly has been gone now for about 10 years. The Winona ended up being called another name, and we'll talk about its history. We'll also talk about how paper was made there and what are some of the products that were made there. Right, so it has a very interesting history. Now, its location is on the second level canal between the Connecticut River behind it, and so thus it used canal water, and that water was brought in a tunnel or race into the power room of the Winona, and then released. Now, it was the last mill put into a long stretch of the canal. It's the only big gap along the canal system. It went from the Winona out into the next mill, be the Norman, and I would say that was about a third of a mile between the two. And that third of a mile could have been fitted in with other mills along the way, but it wasn't, and maybe they were just waiting for them. When they first built the Holyoke Canal system, they were expecting 100 cotton mills to come into town. That never happened. They probably only got 2 cotton mills. The paper mills, fiber mills, wire mills did come in. And so the Gill had this big gap, which is peculiar, but they just ran out of places to put mills.
So, tell us of the history of the Winona.
Okay, the Winona Mill started its life with that name, but didn't end that life. It very quickly changed over to Gill. It was founded in 1880, and it was renamed soon thereafter to the Gill Paper Mill, because George Gill, who lived on 208 Northampton Street, he wanted it named after him. It became a leader in labor within Holyoke, and would actually encourage unions within his business, which is extremely unusual for Holyoke, because most of Holyoke's mills did not like the development of labor unions, and so thus it built up in a very different way. But also the workers liked working there. It only had about 100 to 150 workers, so it wasn't great. And its history was very long. It stayed from 1880 until the late 1960s, has a very active mill. It was taken over a bit by the American Writing Paper Company, where about 9 companies, paper mills around Holyoke joined in. And then the whole system kind of collapsed by the late 60s. It was still used after that for low-level businesses that came in, and then about 10 years ago, as year 2023, it was taken down.
So, just to fill in our listeners, before we continue with the rest of our interview, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour, and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And they are perfect for fun educational outdoor activities for the whole family, or for your group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. So, getting back to our interview, how was production handled at the Winona?
Okay, so we're going to talk about how the mill used its structure to manufacture paper. All right, so most mills around Holyoke, of course, we have a lot of discussions about paper mills. Most mills in Holyoke had a certain agenda, and their agenda was to make each floor be a floor where they do a certain job on that and then pass it down, usually downwards, to the next floor. And that's the way they operated. And most mills found that was the most efficient way to make things work. Now, the gill was a mill that was about 3 floors high, and some of the floors were too high, and they ran it such that anything going perpendicular between the canal and the river was either a machine room or a storage room. So by machine room, that's where the turbines would be, and they'd take in the water from the tunnels, drop it onto the turbines, and spill the turbines, and thus spin the belts and so forth, so that people within the mill could use them. Now, how did the mill operate it? Well, it operated very similar to the other mills, where the top floor would be where they put the raw material in the beginning, and then the next floor down, usually the second floor, they would do a job like pulp it up or cut it up, calendar, put the dimensions on it. And then the ground floor would be where they finished everything off, where they made sure that the paper was nice and sharp and all ready to be put out onto the train. And so this mill was very similar to most of the mills. Some mills went backwards, this one went in a downwards direction like most of the mills did.
And what products did they make at the Winona?
Okay, so this mill right here, the Winona, was um, into making the following products. It made envelopes and envelope paper, which means paper that you could add into the envelope has a written material. It also made book paper, so any book that needed to be made with certain size paper, whether thin, medium, or large, could be made there. It could be made pure white, or it could be lightly tinted. All right, so these are some of the products that they did make, and it made it via a process called sizing, where they glue the paper together. And the process the glue they used was an engine side paper, which means they used the animal fat to has the glue and to hold the pieces of cotton together within the process. All right, and they're a very typical company. If you were to ask me what's the most typical company, this could be it. The way they made it was very similar to all the others. There was nothing out of the ordinary.
So, thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours, and we want to thank our listeners again for tuning in. And you can tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. And again, that's HolyokeCanalTour.org. And you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214B at yahoo.com. And be sure to keep an eye out for his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. Thank you for tuning in.